The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling steak filled the air as Lily bustled through the crowded restaurant, balancing a tray of steaming dishes. Her shifts at the Golden Plate were always hectic, but she loved the energy of the place. The dim lighting, soft jazz, and gleaming table settings created an ambience that drew a mix of locals and high-profile visitors. Lily, with her warm smile and quick wit, was a favorite among the regulars. She had a knack for making people feel at ease, a skill honed through years of working in the service industry. But beneath her cheerful exterior lay a woman chasing her own dreams, dreams she could barely afford on her waitress salary. On a particularly busy Thursday evening, a man walked in with an air of quiet confidence. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, he exuded power and sophistication. His sharp features and piercing gaze turned heads as he made his way to a secluded corner booth. Behind him trailed a younger man, clutching a briefcase, who looked as though he'd rather be anywhere else. Lily noticed them immediately. Her manager, Paul, rushed over, whispering, "Table 5, Lily. They're VIPs. Make sure everything's perfect." "Got it," she replied, smoothing her apron. She approached the table with her usual grace. "Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the Golden Plate. My name is Lily, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you off with something to drink?" The older man looked up, his intense gaze locking with hers. "A glass of your finest scotch." "Neat." Lily nodded and turned to the younger man, who stammered, Just water for now, thanks." As she walked away to fulfill their requests, she couldn't help but feel a curious tension at the table. The older man radiated control, while the younger one seemed nervous, almost intimidated. Returning with their drinks, she set them down carefully. "Are you ready to order, or do you need a moment?" she asked, her voice soft and professional. The older man handed her a sleek leather menu. "We'll start with the oysters and follow with the filet mignon, medium rare. Pair it with a bottle of your best red." "Excellent choice," Lily said, jotting it down. She hesitated for a moment before adding, "If I may suggest, our chef's special truffle risotto pairs beautifully with the filet." The man raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Does it now?" Lily met his gaze without faltering. "Absolutely. The earthy richness of the truffle complements the steak perfectly." He leaned back, a small smile tugging at his lips. "All right, you've convinced me. Add it to the order." As the night unfolded, Lily noticed snippets of their conversation. The younger man, apparently named Ethan, was pitching an idea, a tech startup looking for investment. The older man, whose name she later learned was Victor Carrington, was a renowned venture capitalist known for his ruthless business acumen. Ethan's pitch was passionate but scattered, and Victor's patience seemed to wane. Sensing the tension, Lily decided to intervene subtly. During one of her check-ins, she placed a dessert menu on the table and said, "I couldn't help but overhear bits of your discussion. Forgive me if I'm out of line, but clarity and confidence often go hand in hand. A good story sells as much as a solid business plan." Victor looked at her, amused. "And what would you know about business storytelling?" Lily smiled. "Not much, perhaps. But I do know people, and I know what resonates." Ethan sat up straighter, inspired by her words. Encouraged, he restructured his pitch, delivering it with newfound clarity. To everyone's surprise, Victor leaned forward, his interest piqued. By the time dessert arrived, a decadent chocolate soufflé, Victor had agreed to a follow-up meeting. As they left, Victor handed Lily a crisp bill, far more than the meal cost, along with a business card. "You've got an interesting perspective, Lily. If you're ever looking for a new challenge, give me a call." After they left, Lily stared at the card, her heart racing. She had no idea that the choice she'd make next would alter the course of her life forever. The restaurant's soft glow felt suddenly brighter as Lily stared at the card. The name Victor Carrington embossed in bold, silver letters shimmered under the light. Beneath it was his title, CEO, Carrington Ventures. Her fingers tightened around the card as a mix of disbelief and excitement flooded her. "What's that?" Paul, her manager, asked, walking by with a curious glance. "Nothing," she replied quickly, slipping the card into her pocket. She wasn't ready to explain, mostly because she wasn't entirely sure what to make of it herself. The rest of her shift passed in a blur, but her mind was stuck on Victor's words. A new challenge. What could he possibly mean? Was he being polite? Or was this a genuine opportunity? By the time she got home to her modest apartment, her curiosity had reached a boiling point. Sitting cross-legged on her worn couch, she pulled out the card again. She stared at the phone number below Victor's name. "I'll never know if I don't try," she whispered to herself. She picked up her phone and dialed the number before she could second-guess the decision. The line rang twice before a calm, professional voice answered. "Victor Carrington." "Mr. Carrington, hi. This is Lily. From the Golden Plate. You left your card and said to call if—" "Lily," he interrupted, his tone softening. "I was hoping you'd call. Do you have time to meet tomorrow? Noon at the Regent Hotel lobby." Lily hesitated, her pulse quickening. "Yes, I can do that." "Good. I'll see you then." The call ended before she could overthink it. She stared at her phone, a strange mix of exhilaration and anxiety coursing through her. What had she just agreed to? The next day, Lily arrived at the Regent Hotel, its towering glass facade gleaming under the midday sun. Dressed in her best blouse and skirt, clothes she usually reserved for rare formal occasions, she felt both out of place and determined. Victor was seated in an opulent lounge, a cup of coffee before him, as he scrolled through his tablet. He looked up as she approached, standing to greet her with a firm handshake. "Lily, thank you for coming." "Of course," she replied, her voice steady despite her nerves. They sat, and Victor wasted no time getting to the point. "You impressed me last night. Not just with your suggestion about the food, but with your insight into people. That's a rare skill, one I value deeply." Lily blinked, unsure how to respond. "I just said what I thought. And that's precisely what makes you stand out," he said. "I'm working on a deal that requires someone with your intuition and people skills. It's unconventional, but I believe you could help." Her brow furrowed. "Me? What could I possibly do for you?" Victor leaned back, studying her. "I'm negotiating with a foreign investor, someone notoriously difficult to read. They're visiting next week, and I need someone who can gauge their reactions, steer the conversation subtly. You'd attend as my advisor of sorts." Lily's jaw dropped slightly. "I don't know anything about business deals." "You don't need to," Victor replied. "You understand people. That's enough." The offer was so surreal that for a moment, Lily wondered if she was dreaming. But Victor's serious expression anchored her in reality. "What's in it for me?" she asked, finding her courage. Victor smiled, clearly pleased by her boldness. "If this deal succeeds, there's a significant bonus in it for you. More importantly, I'll personally mentor you, help you channel your talents into a career beyond waitressing. But I'll warn you, it won't be easy." Lily felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. This was an opportunity unlike any she'd ever had, a chance to change her life. But it also meant stepping into a world she didn't understand. "I'll do it," she said, her voice firm despite the uncertainty swirling within her. The week leading up to the meeting was a whirlwind. Victor had her sit in on mock negotiations, teaching her how to read body language and subtle cues. She spent late nights researching the investor, a Japanese tycoon named Hiroshi Takeda, and his preferences. Victor's relentless drive was both intimidating and inspiring, and Lily found herself rising to the challenge in ways she hadn't thought possible. The night of the dinner meeting arrived quickly. Held in an exclusive private room at a Michelin-starred restaurant, the event was a display of luxury and power. Lily, dressed in an elegant black dress Victor had insisted she purchase, felt like a different person as she took her place beside him. Hiroshi Takeda was a reserved man with a keen, calculating gaze. His English was precise, his words deliberate. Throughout the evening, Lily watched him closely, noting every subtle change in his demeanor. When Victor proposed the terms of the deal, Takeda's expression remained inscrutable, until Lily noticed the slightest twitch of his brow. "Mr. Takeda," she interjected gently, surprising even herself. "May I ask what concerns you most about this proposal?" Victor stiffened, but Takeda turned his gaze to her, intrigued. "You're observant," he said, a hint of amusement in his tone. "There is one thing." What followed was a subtle but pivotal conversation that addressed Takeda's unspoken reservations. By the end of the evening, he extended his hand to Victor. "I believe we have an understanding." Victor's triumphant smile was tempered only by the grateful glance he shot at Lily. That night, as Victor's driver took her home, Lily stared out at the city lights, overwhelmed by how much her life had changed in such a short time. What she didn't know was that this was just the beginning, a doorway to a world of challenges, betrayals, and opportunities that would test her in ways she couldn't yet imagine. The following morning, Lily woke up to a message from Victor. "Good work last night. Be at my office at 10 a.m. sharp. We have more to discuss." It was as if the world had turned upside down. 1 week ago, she was just a waitress, lost in the routine of carrying plates and soothing grumpy patrons. Now, she was being called into a CEO's office to discuss business matters she could barely comprehend. She arrived at Carrington Ventures headquarters, an imposing skyscraper in the heart of downtown. The lobby alone was breathtaking. Marble floors, sleek furniture, and an enormous chandelier that sparkled like a constellation. A receptionist guided her to the executive floor, where she was ushered into Victor's corner office. Victor stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city. He turned when she entered, a rare smile on his face. "Lily, come in. Sit." She settled into the plush leather chair across from his desk, nerves prickling at her skin. "I've been thinking about last night," Victor began, leaning against his desk. "You didn't just help close the deal, you saved it. Takeda was seconds from walking away before you stepped in." "I only asked a question," she said, downplaying her role. Victor shook his head. "You saw something I missed. That's not just a question, it's insight. And insight is what makes deals happen." He sat down across from her, his expression serious. "I want you to join my team." Lily blinked. "Your team? What would I even do?" "We'll figure that out," Victor said. "I don't hire people for what they've done. I hire them for what they can do. You're sharp, intuitive, and fearless, qualities that can't be taught. With the right guidance, you could be an asset not just to me, but to this company." Lily's heart pounded. The idea of leaving the familiarity of the restaurant for the corporate world was terrifying, but the excitement was undeniable. "What's the catch?" she asked cautiously. Victor chuckled. "Smart question. The catch is that this won't be easy. You'll be working long hours, stepping into high-stakes situations, and learning as you go. There's no safety net here. But if you succeed, the rewards will be worth it." Lily thought about her cramped apartment, her barely-there savings, and the dreams she'd pushed aside for years. This was a chance to change everything. "I'm in," she said, her voice steady. Victor extended his hand. "Welcome to the team." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Victor assigned Lily to shadow his closest advisors, attend meetings, and absorb everything she could about the business. It was overwhelming, and more than once, she found herself questioning if she was in over her head. But Victor was a relentless teacher. He pushed her to speak up, to think critically, and to trust her instincts. Slowly but surely, Lily began to find her footing. One day, Victor brought her into a meeting with a client, a wealthy property developer on the verge of signing a major deal. As the conversation unfolded, Lily noticed something familiar in the client's demeanor, hesitation masked by confidence. When Victor stepped out to take a call, Lily leaned in. "Mr. Halliday," she said softly, "you seem uncertain. Is there something about the deal that's giving you pause?" Halliday looked at her, surprised. "It's not the deal itself," he admitted after a moment. "It's the timing. If this takes too long to close, I could lose my investors." When Victor returned, Lily discreetly passed him a note summarizing what she'd learned. Armed with this new information, he adjusted the terms to address Halliday's concerns. By the end of the meeting, the deal was signed. Later, as they walked back to the office, Victor glanced at her. "You've got a knack for this, Lily." "I'm just asking questions," she said with a shrug. "No," Victor replied, his tone serious. "You're doing far more than that. You're seeing what others miss. Don't underestimate that." As months passed, Lily's role at Carrington Ventures grew. She became Victor's go-to advisor for high-stakes negotiations, earning respect from her colleagues and clients alike. But the corporate world was not without its challenges. Jealousy brewed among some of Victor's senior staff, who resented Lily's rapid rise. Whispers of favoritism and doubts about her qualifications spread through the office. Lily tried to ignore them, focusing instead on proving herself through her work. But the turning point came during a major acquisition deal with an international conglomerate. The negotiations had stalled, with neither side willing to budge. The tension in the room was palpable, and even Victor seemed at a loss. Lily, observing the dynamics, noticed something subtle. The CEO of the conglomerate, Elena Martinez, kept glancing at a photo on her desk. It was of a small farm, nestled in rolling hills. During a break, Lily approached Elena. "That's a beautiful photo," she said, gesturing to the picture. "Where is it?" Elena's eyes softened. "It's my family's farm in Spain. It's been in our family for generations." Lily nodded. "It must mean a lot to you." "It does," Elena said, a hint of pride in her voice. "It's where I learned the value of hard work." When the meeting resumed, Lily subtly wove the idea of legacy and preservation into the negotiation, framing the deal as a way for both companies to build something enduring. The shift in tone was subtle but powerful. By the end of the day, an agreement was reached. Victor pulled Lily aside afterward, his expression unreadable. "How did you know to do that?" "I just listened," she said simply. Victor smiled, his pride evident. "You've got a rare gift, Lily. And I intend to make sure the world sees it." But as Lily's star continued to rise, so did the stakes. She was about to learn that success in Victor's world came with its own set of challenges, rivalries, ethical dilemmas, and choices that would test not just her skills, but her very character. Would she rise above it all, or would the weight of her new world prove too much to bear? The months that followed were a crucible of growth and trial for Lily. Her days were filled with high-stakes negotiations, intense learning, and moments of triumph tempered by unforeseen challenges. The corporate world, she discovered, was as much about politics as it was about skill. Rivals within Carrington Ventures tried to undermine her, while outside competitors tested her resolve. Through it all, Victor's mentorship remained steadfast. Yet, Lily found herself walking a tightrope. The pressure to succeed was relentless, and she began to question if she was losing herself in the process. Late nights at the office replaced her evenings at home, and she drifted from her friends, consumed by the demands of her new life. One evening, after a particularly grueling meeting, Victor called her into his office. The skyline behind him glittered with the city lights as he studied her. "You've come a long way, Lily," he said. "But I can see the weight of this is getting to you." "I'm fine," she replied automatically, though her tired eyes betrayed her. Victor leaned forward, his gaze sharp. "You're not. And that's okay. Success doesn't mean sacrificing who you are." Lily sighed, sinking into the chair opposite him. I don't want to let you down. Or myself." "You've already exceeded my expectations," Victor said, his tone softer than she'd ever heard it. "But if you lose sight of why you're doing this, what matters to you, it's all for nothing." His words lingered in her mind long after she left the office that night. She realized that while she had gained a new career, she'd lost touch with the things that grounded her. It was time to make a change, not by abandoning the path she was on, but by finding balance. The opportunity to recalibrate came when Victor announced his retirement. At a surprise farewell dinner, he shocked everyone by revealing that he had chosen Lily to take over as head of negotiations, a position that would make her one of the youngest executives in the firm's history. The room erupted in applause, but Lily's heart raced with a mix of pride and fear. After the dinner, Victor pulled her aside. "This is your moment, Lily," he said. "But remember, leadership isn't just about making deals. It's about building relationships, lifting others, and staying true to yourself." Lily hugged him, grateful for his guidance. "I won't forget, Victor. Thank you for believing in me." In her new role, Lily quickly implemented changes that reflected her values. She encouraged collaboration, fostered mentorship within the company, and prioritized ethical practices. Her unique ability to connect with people transformed the company's culture, earning her respect from even her harshest critics. She also reconnected with her roots. Lily began volunteering at a local community center, using her newfound resources to support aspiring entrepreneurs who lacked the opportunities she'd been given. It was a way to give back, and to remember where she came from. 2 years later, Lily stood on a stage at a prestigious business conference, receiving an award for her groundbreaking work in fostering innovation and inclusivity in the corporate world. As she delivered her acceptance speech, she reflected on her journey. "I was once a waitress, serving tables and dreaming of a life beyond what I thought was possible," she said. "But what I've learned is that success isn't about where you start. It's about how you rise, how you treat people, and how you stay true to your values. None of this would have been possible without those who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." To them, and to everyone chasing their dreams, I say this: never underestimate what you're capable of. The audience erupted in applause as Lily stepped down, her heart full. Among the crowd, she spotted Victor, his proud smile a beacon of reassurance. As she walked off stage, Lily felt something she hadn't in a long time: peace. She had built a life that balanced ambition with authenticity, success with compassion. And as she looked toward the future, she knew that no matter what came next, she was ready. It wasn't just a happy ending, it was a new beginning, one built on the foundation of courage, resilience, and the power of believing in oneself.